guys, welcome to my TBR video for the month of May. May is my birthday month, so I really want a really good stack of books for this month. My TBR shelves and cart and whatever that thing is over there, I have too many books, and there's going to be some things going on, at least in May, where I'm hoping to pare down slash I don't know, get through, figure out what to do with all these books. And that being said, I think in May my posting schedule is going to change a bit. I'm tempted, and we'll see if I actually follow through with this. I'm tempted to post a video like every 5 days, so that's more than once a week sometimes, but not always the same day of the week. So right now there's always a video from me on Mondays, and sometimes an extra one at some other point in the week. But this would be a little bit more sporadic. I like changing things up, trying things out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. Like I said, May is my birthday month, but it's also a crazy busy month. 3 out of 4 of us in our family have birthdays that month. There's Mother's Day. I have other things going on. It's gonna be a bit of a crazy month, so we'll see if the posting every 5 days works or not. But this is me saying I'm going to attempt it. And if that doesn't work very well, then I'll just go back to Mondays and maybe other days, depending how it works. Anyway, let's get into my May TBR. There are a few books that I know I need to read this month, and other than that, I'm going to be building out my TBR with my cards that I made a few months ago. But first I want to start with the books that I know I need to read. So the first thing is over on Patreon, my Windy Poplars tier. Every month I'm doing a random draw, and I'm picking somebody who is the patron of the month, / a number generator picks a number, and I figure out which person that is. And so this month, Allie is my patron of the month, and they get to choose which book I read, so they can choose either off of my TBR shelf or off of my wish list. And Allie chose a book that I'll grab. I'm actually really excited about this one. It's The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp, because I have only heard good things, with the exception of Holly, who I have completely different taste than. So when she says something isn't super great, then often that means I will think it is. So in some ways, that is hearing good things. So Allie chose that this was the book I was going to read this month, and then she wants to buddy read it with me as well. So I'm going to be buddy reading that with her. My patron of the month is my one exception to buddy reads, because I'm generally not super great at it, but I try, and I can try like once a month. So this one is about she's a reporter, and she is interviewing a woman who's kind of on her deathbed or something. I don't really know much. It says here, all the wild ways to die could never compare to how she really lived. I don't really know anything about it other than that, and I don't really want to, but I'm excited about it. And the cover does feel very springy. It's one of the books I put on my spring TBR, so I am excited about this very, very much so. Then the next book that I need to read is, I may as well go through this one because it's here. I just got this from the library. This is Kilmeny of the Orchard by Ellen Montgomery. So this is the group read for MontgomerMAY, which I am a co-host of, and I will link the announcement video. So there's all sorts of different Montgomery prompts and things for the month of May, but this one is our group read, so this is one I'm for sure gonna get to. And I don't know anything about it, and this has 0 information on it, just like a really cool vintage looking dust jacket. Oh, there's the hardcover. I don't know what year this is from, but there is a regular old retro library card thing here, and the first time it was taken out was December 20th, 1977. How cool is that? Oh, I love these retro cards. Okay, here's something controversial. When you get books out from the library, do you use these as a bookmark at all? Because sometimes I do. And then second question, do you keep these at all? Because I don't use them anymore. The last time this was used was in '98. There we go. Answer those questions for me. So those are 2 books that I am going to be reading this month. And the last few months I've been trying to mostly keep my TBR at a 7-book maximum, but because it's my birthday month, I want to read all the good books, so I might go a little higher. We will see. The next thing I need to do is pick a book for the Read Your Bookshelf challenge. So last month I read this one, The Words Between Us. Last month it had been read a book in a different genre, so I read this one. Now the next prompt is to read a longer book. So I was going to see how many pages this was. I don't know. I'll look at the actual end of the story. 355 is the end of this. And because my goal is to read a bunch of 500 plus page books this year, I want to read 7 of them, and I'm currently on number 2. I would like to pick out a book that is more than 500 pages for this challenge for this month. So I'm going to take a look at my shelves, see what I can find that is 500 pages or more. These ones that I got out now are, I'm assuming, not quite. That one's not even 300, and this one's like 350-ish. So I need to find a good thick book that I'm excited to read. Okay, I found 2 options. The first one is Babel, of which I have been hearing things that make me think I'm not going to love it. And I think when I hauled this book, I was talking about the title, and it's so interesting. I've done a lot of research on like Babel versus Babel, and even though the word Babel is usually spelled with 2 B's, that is how this is supposed to be pronounced. That is how the author pronounces it. And Babel, the tower, was actually, it's kind of like where Babylon came from, and you don't call it Babylon. So I will forever stick with Babel. If people pronounce it Babel, that's okay. It's like if people pronounce my name in a way that is incorrect to me, it's still okay. So this one is around the 530-ish page mark. This is like a historical fiction fantasy kind of thing. And then my other option is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And I don't really know much about this. It might be kind of also historical fiction fantasy. It's definitely some kind of fantasy. I don't know much else. And it's really heavy. It's right around the 1,000 page mark, actually. Yeah. And this is one that is on my list of 12 fiction books to read this year. So I think I'm going to do a random number generator to make this decision for me. So this is going to be number 1. This is going to be number 2. And we will see what number is picked. Okay, let's see. Can we focus here? So I'm going to do random number generator number 1 and 2. 2. That's actually funny because last month I tried to get this on my TBR too and it didn't work. So that one's going to go back, and that means Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is going on my list for May. It's so heavy. It doesn't really look like 1,000 pages, but it is. And it says the year is 1806. England is beleaguered by the long war with Napoleon, and centuries have passed since practical magicians faded into the nation's past. But scholars of this glorious history discover that one remains, the reclusive Mr. Norrell, whose display of magic sends a thrill through the country. Proceeding to London, he raises a beautiful woman from the dead and summons an army of ghostly ships to terrify the French. I don't like to read the entire back synopsis, but I'm just very curious about this book. And it has some illustrations. Not that I can really tell a whole lot from that. We'll see. We'll see how this is. So now instantly my TBR looks significantly bigger. But now we have to go into my cards. And of course my cat knocked over all these cards plus all the blank ones that I was using to make more. And so hopefully I've organized this in order. So I have some that are red, some that are blue. This is one stack, and these are activity prompts. So these don't necessarily make you read a book. Some of them do, but some kind of activity. So there's those ones. Then I have ones that are just straight blue on the back. These are specific book recommendations from my patrons. And so every month they have the option to give me activity ideas. They have the option to give me specific book ideas. So there's that. And then the largest stack is just red on the back, unless I got some incorrect ones in there. No, it looks like they're right. These are general prompts that will make me pick a book for my TBR. And so once again, they have my patrons have the option to give me suggestions for this. So why don't we start? What should we start with? Let's start with an activity. So I'm just going to shuffle these up a bit and pick a random one. Read only via audiobook for a day. So this one was suggested by Catherine, and this is probably a really good idea because I have not been doing audiobooks at all lately. So whatever my stack ends up being, I'll see if I can get one of them on audio as well, and I will just do audio, and I'll try to do like my Bible on audio. Everything that I read, I will try to do on audio. All right, that's gonna be a challenge, but a challenge that I'm up for and excited about. So that was an activity. Let's do my patron book of the month. And definitely, I think some people give more specific suggestions than others, but there's definitely some people whose names have been picked more than others. The suggestions have been picked more. Let's see. Most of these, I actually don't know anything about these books either. Here's another one I don't know anything about. The Messiah of Cylinder by Victor. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Okay, so I'm gonna look this up, and hopefully my library or something has a copy of this. I've never heard of this. It's a science fiction book from a Christian perspective. So I have no idea. We'll see if I can get my hands on this. I will do what I can to get a copy of that. It doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of reviews, so we'll see how I can find that. Okay, now we're gonna go on to the general prompts that will make me pick a book off of my shelf to read. Oh, that's so funny. This is supposed to be in the activities, but this is the problem when the cat knocked everything over. I'll do this one anyway. This is also from Catherine, and it says read only ebooks for a day. And I'm tempted to make this longer than a day. I might do like a week, but I'll definitely do that as well. So I don't know if there's more activities in here that they're not supposed to be in here. They're supposed to be things that make me pick specific books. We'll see here. Let's try this again here. A book I purchased because of a booktuber. I definitely have them. I just gotta look around because I'm not sure. Oh, I know one for sure, but I don't know if I want to read that one right now. We'll see. Okay, once again, I have two options, and I'm going to let the number generator decide. One of them is The Devil in White City. I saw Holly talking about this quite some time ago, and then Tiffany was also talking about it. So I grabbed this at a book sale fairly recently. This is option number one. I don't know what this is. It's historical fiction, or yeah, and I don't really know much about it. Something to do with the Chicago World Fair, I think. And then the other one is Wayward, and I bought this one after Krista hauled it because the cover really drew me in, and I recently hauled this one. So I also don't know much about this. It's triple timeline, and I think a little bit of magic realism. So we'll go number one and number two for the random number generator. Two again. That's funny. It really does not want ones today. So that means I will be reading Wayward. And this is set in 2019, 1619, and 1942. And it has something to do with a family, I think, or like this wayward cottage. Under cover of darkness, Kate flees London for a ramshackle wayward cottage, inherited from a great aunt she barely remembers. She soon suspects that her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. I don't really know. I'm very curious. I hope it's good because the cover is really beautiful. So hopefully that will turn out well. So that was purchased because of a booktuber. Now let's do another one from this large stack here. I should probably shuffle them in a way that I'm not actually seeing them. title has word from a random word generator. Ooh, that's kind of fun. So I have to find a random word generator. Just all about the random generators. I know that I could, you know, screenshot this and then put it up, but I don't know, for some reason I don't want to. Coincidence, accountant, provincial, Mars, and certain. For some reason it just gave 5 words when I went onto the site to begin with. So let's just see if there's any that have the word coincidence, accountant. I don't think I have any accountant books. Provincial, Mars, and certain. I don't. Certain I feel like is the most likely. Oh, I have one that has the word Martian. Ray Bradbury. I'm not sure if I missed it, definite possibility, but I couldn't find one with any of those words. So we will randomly generate 5 more words. Condition, care, circulate, morale, forum. I don't think so. Sofa, compromise, struggle, valid, decorative. Let's find a word that I actually think I would have. Chimpanzee, eyebrow. No, okay, here's the word true. I feel like that's a little bit more generic. I probably have a book with the word true in it. I definitely know I'm currently reading one that has that in the subtitle, but I'm reading it right now. I just realized I can probably search this on Goodreads, can't I? I don't use Goodreads very well, but I'm pretty sure I can search my books. This would have been more brilliant. Okay, yes, so I'm currently reading one, and I think the rest are either I don't own it or I've already read it. Okay, so I think this is the only one that I own with the word true. So this is Terry Blackstock's True Light. This is book 3 in the Restoration series. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic story. Everything with batteries and electricity went out. I can't remember if it was with batteries. I just read book 2 a couple months ago as a buddy read with a patron. So it's good to read book 3, and then I'll have to get my hands on book 4 at some point to finish the series off. So it will be good to read another book in a series that I've already started. So there's that one. So I'm at 2, 4, 5, 6 books so far. Let's pick an activity. Give me some things to do in the month of May. Hopefully they're good things. This one. Oh, okay. This one is actually really good and scary. But this will involve me reading more books, adding actual books to the stack. So this probably shouldn't have been in the activity. This should have been in the other one. It says, I should just tell you what it says. Find the 3 lowest rated books on Goodreads on your unread books. Either read one by the end of the month or unhaul all 3. So if I go into my Goodreads, can I see which ones I currently own? Okay, now I gotta go by average rating. What is the lowest rated book that I own? Oh, that's the highest. Other way. Okay, where is this one? This is one of them. This is Unfolding by Jonathan Friesen. I think this is like a Christian, oh, it's Blink YA books. So a Christian YA kind of story. That's number 1. The lowest. The second lowest is If Only. I thought it was middle grade. I have it on my YA section. How do you make the decision that matters most? It's a YA novel, that's all I know. It's about a girl who is pregnant as a teenager. That's all I know, based off of that. And, oh, we got a Michael Crichton book. Pirate Latitudes. I'm actually surprised that one of his books is so low, but that's okay. These 3, Pirate Latitudes, If Only, and Unfolding. I guess these aren't technically all going on my TBR stack, but I'm gonna put them somewhere, and I either need to read one of them or unhaul all three. That is a really good one. This was actually Nancy who suggested this one. I like that, I think. I'm definitely probably gonna do at least try a chapter of each of these and then figure out which one I want to try to read. So they're not gonna go like officially on my TBR, but I'll try to read at least one of them. Okay, let's see here. So how many did I have? 2, 4, 5, 6. Let's pick another book. TBR prompt, I guess is what this is. YA, so just a YA book. Okay, that's vague. I'm very, very curious about this one. This is Jennifer Donnelly. So she wrote Stepsister, which is like a retelling or a continuation of the Cinderella story. And this one's very different. This one is YA murder story. 16-year-old Maddie has big dreams but little hope of seeing them come true. Desperate for money, she takes a job at Glenmore where hotel guest Grace Brown asks her to burn a bundle of secret letters. But when Grace's drowned body is fished from the lake, Maddie discovers the letters reveal the grim truth behind a murder. So I could pull out a couple other books as options, but I'm very curious about this one, so I'm gonna just put this one on as my YA book. So that is already 7 books. Like I said, I'm gonna try to go for 10, hoping to fit a few more on that I'm really excited to read. Let's see now. A YouTuber's favorite. I can't remember if I pulled this one out before. There was also some that I had already used. Yeah, I think I did, but that's okay. We can do this again. Also, like, there's like a cat claw obviously went through this, evidence that he was damaging my stuff and making a complete mess of my things. But what is a YouTuber's favorite? Trying to think of what I've heard people rave about recently. Of course, then, you know, everything flies out of my brain and I forget everything. Yeah, I remember nothing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and see if I can find like somebody that did a Q1 favorites. Books with Emily Fox. I watch her videos, but we have 0 similarities, so I don't think she would be a good one to look through. Gloria did the quarterly crisis tag, and I think one of the questions was favorites. I don't own any of those ones, and I want to pick off my shelf because I really need to get through some of these books. I'm gonna go to Angie Henderson's page here, or her channel, and I'm going to see what she said were her favorite books of 2022, that was last year, and see if any of these are on my shelf. Dark Matter, read that one, never heard of that one. A few that I've read, a few that I haven't read, one that I'm supposed to be reading this month, Robin Hobb, not a favorite of mine. Oh man, okay, none on there are on my shelf. I have to go to Krista then, because I feel like she influences my buying probably the most. What do I have here for genres? I don't really want more historical fiction. I'm just gonna look at her 2022 favorites. Did she separate them? I can't remember. 22 favorite books of 2022. Let's see here. Lots of them that I read. Oh, she has a nonfiction that's on my cart. Ooh, one that I want to read. Okay, so she has Under the Banner of Heaven. That is on my TBR cart, one of the nonfiction books I want to read this year. So this is an option. What else does she have here? Miss Bunkle's book is one that I would really like to get my hands onto and read, but I don't own it. Oh, Dear Mrs. Bird. I think those are the ones, only 2 that I own. So there's Dear Mrs. Bird and Under the Banner of Heaven. This one is a cult story, nonfiction, and this one is historical fiction. I already do have quite a bit of historical fiction, but we'll go random number generator, number 1, number 2, and we'll see where it lands. Okay, here's my number 2 from last time. If it turns out to be another number 2, that's gonna be funny. Okay, I don't even know if that generated. 1. Okay, so we're going nonfiction, Under the Banner of Heaven. On here it says, on July 24th, 1984, a woman and her infant daughter were murdered by 2 brothers who believed they were ordered to kill by God. The root to their crime The roots of their crime lie deep in the story, oh my goodness, the history of an American religion practiced by millions. So I have another one of his books that I found at the thrift store, same time as this. So I'm excited to read one of those. Okay, let's do, I just found a bookmark in here. It says something, I love you to the moon and back. Oh, but it's like one of those, that age of kid when they don't know how to, you just put all your words on the thing and the order doesn't matter. It's cute. Whoever put that in the thrift store forgot to take out their little bookmark. I don't know how many books I have here now. This is looking like a very thick stack. I'm not sure I'm gonna get through all of them already, but I want to pick one more. Just one last one. We'll add it to my stack. I haven't read very many books in April so far, so it's making me a little nervous, but I just want lots of good options on my TBR. This one. This is the good one. A new to you author. Oh, okay. That's vague enough that I could pick quite a few different options. So I could pick Dear Mrs. Bird, which is still sitting here. I could pick The Devil in the White City. Once again, these are kind of like historical fiction. Maybe I need something that's not historical fiction. I think I need to go like fantasy or science fiction. I think I need to go in that direction. Let's just try this one. It is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. So I guess this is kind of, you might read a little bit historical fiction-esque. So we're taking Mary Jekyll, alone and penniless, following her parents' death, quickly finds herself drawn into the secrets of her father's mysterious past. A clue leads her to believe that Edward Hyde, her father's former friend and a murderer, may be nearby, and there is still a reward for information resulting in his capture. A reward that would solve all her immediate financial woes. I feel like there's a vibe, other than maybe like my one Ella Montgomery book and The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. There's a bit of a vibe going on here, and I also think that this book would fit that vibe. So I'm gonna just stick this one on here as well. This one is Erik Larson's spellbinding bestseller intertwines the true tale of two men, the brilliant architect behind the legendary 1893 World's Fair, striving to secure America's place in the world, and the cunning serial killer who used the fair to lure his victims to their death. I'm curious. So that's an excessively large stack. That doesn't, oh dear, okay. Just to show you, this is the stack, and this doesn't include the 3 books that I need to read one of or on haul all 3, but I could probably do it. We'll see. I like having a lot of options. I like picking a TBR so that I can therefore go, when I finish a book, I go to that stack and I mood read within there, like, okay, what am I in the mood for next? So we'll see. This should give me a good amount of options, and I think it's a good vibe for my birthday month. It's a little dark, there's some dark ones, but it's just what I'm kind of in the mood for. We will see how it goes. Let me know what you guys are reading in the month of May.